Welcome to 10-Minute Murder, the brief and bingeable true crime podcast for people with stuff to do. Hi, I'm Joe. Thanks for listening today. And if you're not subscribed, take a second and do that now so that you don't miss any episodes and can get them as soon as they are released. And today is Sunday, so it's a serial killer Sunday for 10-Minute Murder. Accidentally keeping with the theme I've had lately, this is another story that takes place in the state of California. A serial killer with the belief that if he held oranges on top of his head, he'd absorb the vitamin C through his brain. He also believed that drinking the blood of people would prevent his heart from shrinking. He's the killer known as the Vampire of Sacramento, Richard Chase. Richard Chase had a very short run of murders starting in late 1977. It ended a month later. During that time in Sacramento, local dairy farmers were protesting the price of milk, which had them barely breaking even. A herd of cows even walked in the protest, making big news. This was obviously before Chick-fil-A cows were out here misspelling on billboards. During this time, there was also a serial rapist on the prowl. Had people worried. The East Area Rapist, Joseph DeAngelo, also known as the Golden State Killer. Richard Chase's killing spree was one that luckily didn't last long, but still has a death toll of 6. Chase was born in 1950, and by the age of 10, displayed evidence of all 3 parts of the McDonald Triad. If you've never heard of it, it's a pretty interesting study where there are a set of 3 factors that suggest if any combination of 2 or more are present, that person is believed to be predispositioned to later violent tendencies, specifically serial violent tendencies. The 3 factors are cruelty to animals, obsession to fire starting, and persistent bedwetting past a certain age. And that's the McDonald Triad. And Richard Chase rolled a Yahtzee. Richard often complained that his heart would stop beating occasionally, or that someone had stolen his pulmonary artery. He was a diagnosed schizophrenic hypochondriac. There was also a time when he shaved his head because he believed his cranial bones had separated and were in there just moving around, so he wanted to keep a closer eye on them. Chase grew up and moved out, renting an apartment with some friends, because he thought his mother was trying to poison him. His roommates complained because they said he was constantly under the influence of alcohol, marijuana, or LSD. Sometimes all of the above. Richard liked to walk around the apartment nude. They finally had enough of him when he was walking around naked, even when they had company over. There are only so many times you can say, "Don't mind him, that's just my creepy roommate, Richard." They told him to move out. He told them, "No thanks." So they moved out instead. Once he was on his own in the apartment, Chase started a new hobby of capturing various animals. He'd disembowel them, break out the blender, and make a smoothie of raw animal organs mixed with Coca-Cola. The reason? He said that he thought it was preventing his heart from shrinking. It wasn't until he got sick and had to be taken to the hospital that he was involuntarily committed to a mental institution. It wasn't the spleen smoothies he was mixing up that did it, though. He had injected rabbit's blood into his veins, and that made him sick. While in the institution, he got the nickname Dracula by the staff because of his blood obsession. Chase somehow managed to catch 2 birds in the window, broke their necks, and drank their blood. He also stole syringes that he used to extract blood from the therapy dogs that would come around. I'm not sure how you can let someone as mentally unwell as him out, but they did. They loaded him up with an assortment of psychotropic drugs and let him roam free, deemed no longer a danger to society. His mother, who is not a doctor, took him in and quickly weaned him off of his medications, then got him an apartment. Around this time, he was pulled over on a reservation in Nevada, covered head to toe in blood. A bucket full of blood was in his truck. They determined that it was cow's blood and let him go on about his business. Another day, he went to his mother's house and rang the doorbell. When she came to the door, he shoved a dead cat in her face. Then he threw it to the ground. He bent down, tore open its stomach with his bare hands, and smeared the blood all over himself while screaming. His mother just casually closed the door and reported this incident to absolutely no one. A few months later, and less than a year after being released from the mental institution, is when Richard Chase would begin his murder spree. On December 29, 1977, he killed a 51-year-old father of two named Ambrose Griffin. Chase wanted a warm-up for the spree he was planning to embark on. He saw Ambrose helping his wife bring groceries into the house and shot him. 2 weeks later, he attempted to enter the home of a lady but found out the doors were locked. He would later say that he looked at unlocked doors as an invitation to come in, but locked doors meant that he wasn't welcome. He moved down the street until he came to an unlocked house. Once inside, he stole a few things, peed into a dresser drawer, and defecated on a bed. The homeowners came home while he was still there and attacked Chase, but he managed to escape. He continued to try to enter homes until he came to the home of David and Teresa Wallen. David was at work, but 3 months pregnant Teresa was in the middle of taking out the garbage when Richard Chase surprised her and shot her 3 times. He dragged her body to the bedroom and raped her. He then cut her open, dipped in an empty yogurt cup, and drank her blood from it. There are several other things he did to her, but I'll let you investigate that on your own. A couple days after killing Teresa, he bought puppies from a neighbor that he killed quickly, drank the blood from, and left on the neighbor's lawn. When the urge for more blood hit a few days later, Richard Chase entered the home of 38-year-old Evelyn Meirath, who was babysitting her 2-year-old nephew. Also at the house, Evelyn's 6-year-old son Jason and a neighbor, Dan Meredith, who had come over to watch the kids while she took a bath. When Richard entered the house, Dan went to the hall to see who was there. Richard shot him in the head at point-blank range, then turned him over, taking his keys and his wallet. Jason, trying to run to the bedroom, was shot twice, killing him. He then shot and killed David, the 2-year-old. He moved on to Evelyn in the bathroom, fatally shooting her before moving her body to the bedroom. He raped her and also drank her blood from cuts he made on her neck. When he finished, he went back to David's body, where he opened his skull and ate some of his brain. Outside, a little girl, Jason's friend, knocked on the door for Jason to come out and play. Chase was startled and fled out the back. The little girl alerted a neighbor who called police to the scene. Inside, they discovered what Richard Chase had done before leaving a bloody handprint behind. They didn't find David's body, though, because Chase took that with him. When he got home, he cut off the penis and used it as a straw to drink blood from. He mixed up another smoothie and drank that before dumping David's body at a nearby church. 5 days later, authorities tracked down and arrested Richard Chase. FBI investigators had developed a profile of the serial killer and determined that he would be tall, malnourished, a loner, and physically unclean. Nancy Holden, who knew Chase from school, had run into him a few weeks before and thought the description seemed a lot like Richard, and she called the authorities. When they searched Richard's apartment, they found the walls, ceiling, and refrigerator all covered in blood. On the counter, the blender that he used to make smoothies. In the refrigerator, Tupperware containers with various organs and body parts he was saving for later. On May 8th, a jury found Richard Chase, the vampire of Sacramento, guilty on 6 counts of first-degree murder. After a judge said that Chase wasn't legally insane, he was sentenced to die in the gas chamber. Other prison inmates, many of those gang members, were afraid of him because they knew the details of what he had done. They wanted to kill him, but were too scared to get close enough. Instead, they tried talking him into killing himself. In the end, that's exactly what happened. Richard Chase hoarded his prescription antidepressants for weeks until December 26, 1980, taking them all and ending his own life.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's today's 10-minute murder on Serial Killer Sunday, the vampire of Sacramento, Richard Chase. I debated on whether or not I should talk about this one for a couple of different reasons. First of all, it's so completely over-the-top gruesome. And second, there's a lot of it I left out. Partly because of how gruesome, and mostly because there's not enough time to mention it all. Like how he thought the Nazis and the aliens were in cahoots to try to kill him. Hey, make sure you are subscribed to 10 Minute Murder and are following on social media. And right now, so that you know, on Apple Podcasts, there's a delay in making the episodes available to you unless you are subscribed. I don't know what that's all about, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. And hopefully it gets resolved soon. But to be safe, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for listening to 10 Minute Murder. I really appreciate it. Have a good night.